You can delete the messages, close the door, say, "It meant nothing." But 50,000 years ago, you had no door, no phone, no separate bedroom. You lived in a small tribe, usually about 25 people. Everyone slept side by side, ate side by side, and knew more about each other than your phone knows about you. And if you were the one who cheated, it wouldn't be just personal drama. It could break the hunt, the friendships, the sharing of food, the raising of children, and the trust of the entire tribe. Today, you'll find out what would happen if you cheated back in the Stone Age, how it played out, why it was more dangerous than it looks, and what the tribe did to those who crossed the line. And at the very end, the big twist. The worst punishment wasn't a beating, and it wasn't exile. It was something you can't even see, but you feel it in every cell. Today, cheating seems like a matter between two people: him, her, the lie, the jealousy, the scandal. For ancient humans, it was completely different. The tribe was small. You knew everyone from childhood. Your mother sat by the same fire. Your brother hunted with that man. Your children played with the children of the woman you might break the rules with. By the way, about deleting the messages, you think that's being clever. Your ancestor would have laughed. All his messages went out loud, by the fire, in front of witnesses. So cheating didn't hit a couple. It hit the whole system. Why? Because in a world like that, survival rested on trust. Who would share meat? Who would help your child? Who would go hunting with you? Who would sleep beside you when predators walked just past the firelight? And if a person lied about the most intimate thing, the tribe started to ask, can he be trusted at all? Here's the key thought. For us, cheating is a moral problem. For them, it was a survival problem. Two hunters who hate each other over one woman hunt worse. A man who isn't sure whose child is growing up beside him takes worse care of it. And in a world where you can't raise a child alone, that's already a threat. But does that mean ancient people were faithful by our rules? No. And this is where it gets interesting. First, a question that breaks the whole picture. What exactly was the cheater breaking if ancient people had no marriage? No registry office, no documents, no rings, no line that says, "You are now officially husband and wife"? But couples existed anyway. A man brought food to a woman. The woman slept beside him. Together, they raised a child. The tribe understood. These two are bound. It wasn't paper. It was a social contract. And here's the danger. Breaking a contract with no documents turned out to be even easier and more painful. If a woman quietly grows close to another man, the first man feels betrayed. If a man leaves for another woman, his partner loses help, protection, food, and status. But the most important thing, the children. A human child is helpless for years. It needs a mother, a father, grandmothers, uncles, older children, the whole camp. So relationships among ancient people weren't only about desire, they were about resources. Who feeds whose child? Who counts on whom in winter, in hunger, in sickness? And if someone broke this invisible contract, the tribe couldn't say that's their private business, because private business barely existed. Privacy 50,000 years ago lasted about 4 seconds. Today, cheating gets exposed by a text, a receipt, a photo, a location ping. Ancient people had none of that, but they had something worse: the tribe. In a group of 25 people, you can't vanish for a couple of hours and come back like nothing happened. Someone saw where you went. Someone noticed who you talked to. Someone read it on your face. In a world without cameras, People were cameras for each other. Modern humans think they invented group chats. No, the first group chat was the campfire, and you can't get banned from that one. And here, the main ancient control mechanism kicked in: gossip. Not idle chatter, but a social alarm system. Greedy? People talked. Lied? They talked. Broke up someone else's couple? They talked too. Gossip was the ancient internet. It carried reputation, and reputation decided everything. Reliable? People share with you. Dangerous? People avoid you. A wrecker of other people's bonds. No one trusts you anymore. Not with the hunt, not with food, not with children, not with the night fire. And that's already a punishment. No trial, no chief with a hammer. One day you simply notice that people look you in the eye a little less. But sometimes gossip wasn't enough, because jealousy is one of the oldest and most dangerous human emotions. And in the next block, what could really happen to someone who cheated? Imagine it was you who cheated. Here's what would begin. Different groups had different rules. Some tolerated it. Some mocked it. Some started fights. Somewhere, a person simply left. And somewhere, the consequences could be deadly. But more often, the first punishment wasn't physical. The first one was shame. The tribe could laugh, tease, sing insulting songs, remind you again and again. Yes, the first diss tracks appeared 40,000 years before rap, and you couldn't skip the track. It played at the same fire where you ate. For a modern person, that's nothing. But imagine, you live with these people every day. You eat with them. You sleep beside them. They raise your children. And everyone knows what you did. The second punishment: loss of trust. They might not take you hunting, share food less, talk to you less, not back you in an argument. In a hunter-gatherer world, that's more dangerous than it sounds, because a loner barely survives. Imagine, you're alone beyond the firelight. A twig snaps. You freeze. In the dark, 2 yellow eyes, then 4, then 6. You run to the fire, and you understand. The fire wasn't just food and warmth. It was life. Third, leaving. Sometimes the conflict was solved simply. One person packed up and went to another camp. But that's a risk too. The new camp may not accept you. They already know the rumors. Fourth, violence. Yes, jealousy could lead to fights, to revenge, sometimes to death. 2 hunters, 1 woman, 1 shove, and the fists are flying. The tribe freezes, then rushes to pull them apart, because a fight in a small world isn't a spectacle. It's a threat to everyone. But violence was dangerous for the avenger, too. If you kill a person in your own small world, you don't solve the problem. You create a new one. The dead man has a brother, a mother, allies, people who now fear you. So the tribe often tried to put the conflict out earlier, with jokes, pressure, talk, separating people. The most unexpected question isn't how the cheater was punished. It's why cheating continued at all, if the risk was so high. Because ancient people weren't saints. They were human. Jealousy, desire, the fear of losing a partner, status, boredom, resentment, the same emotions we have. The difference is that we have walls, phones, cities, and a way to disappear. They had a group of 25 people where every glance meant something. And maybe that's exactly why the human brain still reacts so sharply to cheating, even now. You can live in an apartment, work in an office, scroll the internet, but inside you sits an ancient program. If I'm betrayed, I could lose more than love. I could lose protection, help, my child's future, my place at the fire. That's why cheating still feels not like a small mistake, but like a threat to your whole world. And here's the main twist. Remember, at the start, I said the worst punishment wasn't a fight or exile. The worst was quiet exclusion. When no one officially throws you out, but the meat reaches you last. The jokes are no longer with you, they're about you. There's a place for you at the fire, but there's less warmth there. You're still in the tribe, but no longer inside it. For a modern person, loneliness is unpleasant. For an ancient one, it could be a death sentence. Because beyond the group were hunger, cold, predators, and darkness. And that's why ancient faithfulness wasn't only about love, it was about access to people. 50,000 years ago, you might not have had a home, but you had a fire. And if you lost the people around that fire, you lost almost everything. Cheating was dangerous not because ancient people were moralists, but because a small tribe was held together by trust. Today, we close doors, set passwords, delete messages, and your ancestor just looked at the faces by the fire and understood. They already know. A question for the comments. Which is scarier, being punished right away or living next to people who no longer trust you? Subscribe if you want to see how ordinary human feelings appeared not in the city, but at an ancient fire.